Shri Gurubhyo Namaha children. We welcome you to our online teaching academy Ekalaiva. Yesterday we discussed about the law of equimarginal utility in consumption analysis. Today we are going to discuss about consumer's surplus. The concept of consumer surplus was introduced by classical economists and later modified by Jevons and Jules Depute. But a most refined form of the concept of consumer surplus was given by Alfred Marshall. This concept is based on the law of diminishing marginal utility, about which we discussed in our previous chapter. Now, according to Alfred Marshall, he defined consumer surplus as the excess of price which a person would be willing to pay for a thing rather than go without the thing. Over that which he actually does pay is the economic measure of this surplus satisfaction. For example, if you are meeting your friend and your friend is wearing a dress, you like the dress very much. So it is nature, you are asking your friend what is the cost of that. So your friend may say that it costs 2000 rupees. So what you will think, okay, where you bought, you will be asking various information about that. So the next day you are going to the same shop and you fix that the price of that dress is 2000. So that is called as actual price, the price which you are willing to pay to buy that dress. But for your surprise, on that day the price has come down and the same dress is available for 1500 rupees. So you will become very happy, isn't it? There is no change in quality, no change in design, so everything is apt. So what you will do, you will feel very happy. So the extra satisfaction you get when you purchase for the low price. So that is called consumer surplus. So you expected the price of that dress to be 2000, but actually how much you are paying? You are going to pay only 1500. So 2000 minus 1500. So that rupees 500 is the consumer surplus. So the person would be willing to pay a thing instead of going without that thing. So he actually does pay. It is the economic measure of this surplus satisfaction. Next one, there are some assumptions for this theory. Marshall assumed that utility can be measured. Next one, marginal utilities of money of the consumer, it is going to be remain constant, and there are no substitutes. You are not going to compromise. Then taste, income and character of the consumer also do not change. Utility of one commodity does not depend on the other. Here the formula to calculate consumer surplus is given. So consumer surplus equal to what a person is willing to pay. You are willing to pay 2000. What he actually pays, but you actually pay 1500, isn't it? So if you subtract this, what a person is willing to pay, that amount is called potential price, and what he actually pays, that is called actual price. So consumer surplus equal to potential price minus actual price. So the concept of consumer surplus can be explained with one more example. Suppose a consumer wants to buy an apple. He is willing to pay rupees 4 rather than go without it, and the actual price of the apple is rupees 2. Hence the consumer surplus is rupees 4 minus rupees 2 equal to 2. Thus consumer surplus is the difference between the price that a consumer is willing to pay and what he actually pays. So mathematically this can be represented as TU minus P into Q. Okay, now in this table, the consumer is willing to pay 64532 for purchasing the successive units of apple, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hence he is willing to pay potential price so total utility is he paid rupees 20 for all the units, but the actual price is rupees 2, so he paid only 10 rupees for getting 5 apples. So the consumer surplus, if we calculate 6 minus 2, so this is the potential price and this is the actual price. So 6 minus 2 equal to 4, and in the next unit he was willing to pay 5 rupees, but the actual price is rupees 2, so 5 minus 2, 3, and in the third unit the potential price is rupees 4 and the actual price is rupees 2, and here the consumer surplus is rupees 2. Now if we add all the 5, total we get 20, and here the actual price is 2. So while he is purchasing 5 units, the price is 2 into 5. So here if we subtract the total of the potential price minus total of the actual price, we get 10. So 20 minus 10 equal to 10. So thus we can calculate consumer surplus in this way. Now in this graphical representation we can see x-axis shows the amount demanded, and here y-axis represents the price. Here DD1 shows the utility which the consumer derives from the purchase of different amounts of commodity. So when price is OP, the amount demanded is OQ. You can see in this diagram. Hence the actual price is OP into CQ, and potential price, that is total utility, is ODCQ. So now consumer surplus is ODCQ minus OPCQ equal to PDC, that is this shaded area. Now criticism: utility cannot be measured because utility is subjective. We can experience. Next one, marginal utility of money does not remain constant. And third one, potential price is internal. It may be known to the consumer himself. Okay children, today we discussed about consumer surplus. We learned how to calculate consumer surplus, and about some criticisms also we discussed. To receive our online lessons, please press the subscribe button and you will receive the latest updates. Thank you, children.